What's up, everyone? In this video here, I'm going to show you how to skin out a raccoon. What we're going to need for this is a knife, obviously. I just use a fleshing knife. I also use a tail stripper. And a tail stripper, what that's going to do is pull the tail off the coon. And you don't need a tail zipper, but at one point, you know, it was buy over $100, get a tail zipper for free. And what this is going to do is just cut down the tail and just open it up. That's all. So first things first, if you want to handle fur properly, you need to wash it. This guy here, I'm short on time. I'm not going to wash it. I'm going to skin this guy out, wash it, you know, on my own time. It's not going to dry. There's no heat in this back room. It's just not going to dry in a good amount of time. So I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to skip that. But just keep in mind, you always want to wash this fur off and get this mud out and clumps and burrs. You can also comb it. And for combing it, what that's going to do is if you have any burrs in the fur, when you go to flesh it, any little bump on this side of the fur, it could catch that fleshing knife and you can put a hole in the pelt. So stick with me here. Let's get turned around and start skinning. All right, so on this raccoon, I'm going to stretch him open. We have our tail, our vent, obviously our hind legs. So what I do to start is I just cut around both back legs, just like so, just to separate that from the skin. And then we'll come to this leg, the same thing. I'm just going to separate it. So what I do is I'm going to go from the free leg, and we're going to cut across this free leg up to the vent. So right here at the base of the tail, where it meets the anus, I want both cuts to meet right there. Pull back. Now you can see the fat. You can see that white fat in there. So I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to go right here. This guy's a little stiff because I ended up catching him yesterday, and I got home from work late, and I'm going to do it now. So there we go. So raccoons are very easy to pull. Once you get them started, they pull down. So that being said, you're going to see there's some meat that wants to come off in this hind quarter. What I do is take my knife to start it, and then once I start cutting it there, just a little bit, then you pull. And this guy's stiff, so it's always easier when they're warm. So there we go. You can see he broke free on this side. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side here, the free side. I'm going to come down, I'm going to grab that little bit of fur and just pull, or excuse me, cut. So I separated the meat from the hide right there. Now it's going to be the same thing here. All right, so now I have that pulled off the leg. So what I'm going to do is pull the fur this way now and bring it right to the base of the tail. I'm going to set this knife down so I don't stab myself. So then what I like to do is take my fingers both sides and just pull my way through, push my way through rather, until it pokes out the other side. All right, so now you can see my fingers poking through right there. I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to go to the base of the tail, and I'm just going to start this down the base of the tail just like so. So now right here, we want to be careful because if you pull too hard, you can pull the tail and half the tail will be left on the tailbone and half the tail will be in your hand. So what I do is come down, I just pull very gently to the end of my incision. I'm going to take my knife again, and I'm going to free up the tendons and whatnot around the tail and the skin. The tailbone and the skin. So there's that. And if you've never seen anything like this, very simple. It's a tail stripper. We're going to put it on our tail like so. It goes right over the tailbone. And it works very good for like young kids. If you don't have the strength to hold with your finger, and I don't trust myself, I mean, I could be strong enough, I don't know. I've never tried it. I always use a tail stripper just so I don't have that oops of ripping the tail in half. So, but slide that over the tailbone. And of course, this guy sat all night. So now it's really making me look weak. We're going to take a little bit more off of here. There's something grabbing it. And now it just pulled right out. So, as for this tool here, like I said, you do not need this. What you do is you come down the tail, put it in there, and you come down and you zip it. Hence, tail zipper. So let's set this back up. I'm going to grab my knife. The only thing I do not like about this tail zipper is if you see that plastic tip, it always leaves the tip of the tail. If you use it, you can always feel that extra inch and a half. Essentially the length of from the blade to the tip. It does not zip it. So that's why it doesn't matter if you use it or not. It's just the tool I showed you. Like I said, I ended up getting it for free for free. You know, I bought over so much money and I got they sent that tail zipper. But to use a knife, all that I do is just put my knife inside the tail, cut it, and now it's split the whole way down. Back to skinning. So we got our tail undone, we did the hindquarters, now we're gonna go to the front. So what I'm gonna do in the front, this is gonna be tough for me because it wants to swing the opposite direction, is we're just gonna pull. And what we're gonna do is just like the back side where we worked our hands through, we're gonna work our hands through. Now this raccoon's a male, so his penis, there's a bone. But we're going to work through, boom. Now my fingers are through, and I'm going to pull. So now you essentially have a handle here. Take your knife, and you're going to grab this fur, put your knife through, if I could get in front of the bone. There we go. And we're cutting that off. We're leaving this pouch here. What that's going to do is that's going to leave an inspection window from the stretched fur for the buyers to see, and they can run their hand up in there and feel it, whatever. So now we got a raccoon, we can pull. You gotta get into the groove. See right here, we're getting a little tight. So what I'm going to do is take my knife, and you can see, I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but you can see this white right above my blade right there. That's where you want to cut it. Just slice it as you pull. So keep tension on the skin and then just come around. Then what we're going to do is work our way down to the front shoulder. Whatever you do, put your knife down when you do this so you don't stab yourself. Well, we're going to work our way down to the front shoulder, front leg. And then once we come into the elbow there, I work my finger and pull it through. So then, I'm going to take it and pull it down to his wrist. And then cut him off right in front of his toes. Then the same thing on the other leg. That's a leg hole. If you didn't see it, I want to push my finger through. Show you. So my finger's through the leg and the fur. I'm going to work it free. Pull it down to his wrist. Take my knife. Cut it off right in front of his toes. Now you don't want to leave too much front leg fur on there. A, they don't use it. And B, what will happen is it'll flop down like so. And it could mold underneath that front leg if it just lays on the leather itself. It'll just lay down on itself. So there's really no point in having them. So now, what I do, I put my fingers in the leg holes. And then we're just going to work our way around. And then right here, if it was warm, you would be able to pull this straight down to the ears, I promise you. You would be able to pull that hide straight down to the ears and cut them off. But now we need to be gentle and take our time because we're coming up to the face. So if we're coming up to the face, we're coming up to the ears. And the longer you do this, you're going to have a feel. You're going to have a feel for, you know, when the ear's coming, where the ear's at. So right here's the ear cartilage. I'm going to cut it. Now what you want to do is you want to cut that cartilage back far enough. If you want this to look good, cut it back far enough so that way no fur is sticking backwards through the ear cartilage. I mean, again, does it matter? No, they're not using that face. Now, if they were making a hat, I'm sure it does matter. So, right here again is another ear. So we're going to cut back. Boom, I just cut that ear. So, now we're going to work our way around. Now what we got to do is work our way down to the eyeballs. So we're just going to keep skinning. We're going to keep coming down, and I'm going to pull. Okay, so now our eyeballs are coming up. We have an eyeball right here, so what we want to do is we want to start back. We're going to expose the eye. That's the eye there. So what I do is after I expose that eye, I come in this way with my knife, and there's going to be a little flab of skin there. And I cut that off. Just keep coming around now. Now again, you want to cut that white. And we're going to expose the other eyeball. I come in there and cut backwards. I don't cut forward because I don't want to cut the eyelid and make a big hole in the eyelid. Now we're going to expose the jaw and the teeth. And what I do, put my finger in there, give it a little pull. Same thing on this side. Put your finger in there, Put tension on it with your finger. I'm right-handed, so put tension in it with your finger. Cut right along the bone. Now I'm going to pull. Now we're coming up to the nose. Now you can see I'm using his jaw as leverage. I got my finger through his mouth. I'm going to come around. That's it. So now we have him off of his head. Now that extra bottom lip, it's going to be the same concept with the front legs. That extra bottom lip, we just want to cut it. That, folks, is how you skin out a raccoon. Now, stick around and watch the next video for part 2, and I'm going to show you exactly how to flesh it and get it ready for the stretcher. So, take care, and thanks for watching, everyone.